So, my next guest, he is one of Australia's greatest performers. He is one of the funniest men I know, and he is a dear friend. He's returning to Adelaide with his new show. It's called ABBA Choir, the great Craig McLachlan. Lovely to see you. Welcome.
Leith Forrest, you handsome man. Double A's very own super spunk. It's
Stop it.
so good to see you.
Stop it. It is lovely to see
So
you
good to see
too.
you.
You know, in all the hours, and I talk about you on the show a lot from our time on McLeod's Daughters, in all the hours that you and I spent in the Tarago together, singing, jamming, not once did we play ABBA. We played The Angels and The Darkness and Guns N' Roses and Tenacious D. When did you come out of the ABBA closet?
So to speak. Well, that's a good question. Look, I'm all about the rock, but and remember, Leith Forrest, I'm a few years older than you.
Mm.
So in the mid 70s, I'd been learning guitar for a couple of years. I just got my first electric guitar for my 10th birthday. For you guitarists listening or watching, it was a Gibson copy, a cheap knockoff of like an Angus Young SG. So I had a guitar that looked like it rocked. I had a little 10-watt practice amp, and I was already playing Akadaka riffs and all the rest of it. Then all of a sudden, I heard this. Just one look and I can hear a bell ring. One more look and I forget everything. Oh, Mamma Mia, here I go again. Now, it was just that bit. One more look and I can hear a bell ring. And I thought, in the middle of a pop song,
Mm.
that bit rocks. The following week, I saw the video for Mamma Mia on Countdown and saw the glamtastic costumes. How
Hmm.
could you not fall in love with these four super Swedes? So when I get to school the following week, all my school friends come up and they're like, "Did you see that band on the TV? You know, ABBA? Can you play that song?" Well, Leith Forrest, you probably better than anyone else after all the miles we clocked up together in the Tarago with me sitting in the back seat. It's a shame I can't run some of that footage for our friends. And I'm in the back seat. Well, hearing a song, whether you've been blessed or cursed, depending on your point of view, with a really good musical ear, suddenly recess, play lunch, and lunchtime was me playing the latest ABBA song in the quadrangle. Now, make no mistake, Leith Forrest, when I'd get home, it was all things Akadaka, and of course, Kiss Alive had just been released.
Oh, yeah.
And who doesn't want to rock and roll all night and party every day?
I
So there's been
certainly
a
do.
little bit of ABBA, don't hold it
Yeah.
against me. There's been a little bit of ABBA in the musical DNA of your good mate for all these years.
Do you know what, though? It was always a guilty pleasure that is now out in the open. And all of us, we love ABBA. They just released the best songs. And whether it's Waterloo, which is a cracking song, Super Trooper, which is one of my favorite songs, everything you want in a great rock and roll song, a catchy hook, great vocals, great instrumentals. And I love with this show that you're up there with your guitar, channeling Angus or channeling Eddie Van Halen, you're just playing ABBA songs. It's the same. It's the rock and roll
Exactly.
god playing the greatest music.
Do you know there are a couple of wild moments that are a little more Eddie Van Halen than Bjorn, but the crowd seem to dig it, and I certainly have a good time with it. But you think about it, Leith Forrest, you're a musical guy. If the production had have been different on any of those ABBA songs, any of them, even the Mamma Mia,
Mhm.
imagine if you adopted the muted approach, the muted guitar approach of the Angels with "I've been living with you since I don't know when."
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It all of a sudden it becomes part. The melody's great, but they were clever because
Mhm.
they read the times just right, didn't they? Mid 70s, we'd come out of the 60s, mid 70s, suddenly we had Bowie doing the glam and glitter thing. Sweet.
Mhm.
Slade.
Mhm.
How do we make a four-piece band two good-looking gals, two good-looking guys. We've got all these we've got to popify it
Yeah.
somehow. And boy, did they. But all those melodies, Leith Forrest, honestly.
But it's great songwriting, Craig. Like it's just instrumentally, it's great. But they were so ahead of their, and those songs haven't aged. Like you're doing a show now in 2025 that's the best part of 50 years old, and they're still as great today.
Absolutely. But do you know what was interesting for Vanessa and I? Like all jokes aside, when it comes to what do we include without giving anything away, but what do we include? What snippets? What do we tease people with? What song will we focus on to teach the audience the harmonies,
Hmm.
which we do? And I should just point out too, Leith Forrest, handsome man, Double A's matinee
No.
idol,
Yeah, yeah. No, not.
um, radio's heartthrob there in Adelaide. Let me just say that and it never occurred to me really, when the producers came up with the name ABBA Choir, basically what they were trying to get across is this notion of a massive sing-along.
Mm.
But some people came up to us, to Vanessa and I in Brisbane after the show, and actually said, "Oh, we were desperate to come along. It sounded like so much fun, but we're not singers, and we were worried that you were going to drag us up on stage and, literally pick people to create a choir." That's not what it is. It really is the ultimate en masse karaoke
Yeah,
sing along.
yeah.
But we do, for those people who are confident shower singers or car singers, like your good self, Leaf.
Mm.
I could tell people tales of you singing while driving me to location with me rocking out
Hmm.
on a little black Gibson SG in the back seat. For those people who are confident singers, or perhaps you're part of your local choir, an amateur choir, professional choir, those guys know the harmonies anyway. But what's really great is, even if, like, a good mate of mine, he can't sing Happy Birthday in tune, but he loves music.
Hmm.
And so he and his wife came along and just swept up in the vibe, sang like there was no one else there. So my point is, don't be concerned about the word choir in the name of the show.
Yeah.
It really is just a celebration of them.
What I saw from the first show too, Craig, was that people aren't just spectators, they are a part of it, but not just that. Yes, they're singing together, which again, you're right, it doesn't matter what level of singing you can do, but they're also dressing up, they're singing their lungs out, they're making friends, and together, all of that, like a good recipe, you're just making beautiful music together.
I see what you did there, and I love
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
I love that. It's really about the experience, and for all sorts of reasons, having had a little time away, a lot of thought went into what I was going to do as a return to the main stage, as it were.
Hmm.
What I loved about this, Leith, was the notion that, yes, Vanessa and I are up on stage, and there's a lot of fun to be had. There's a lot of, there are a lot of little diversions. We step off ABBA Highway 1 and explore a couple of other fun musical moments along the way. But what I loved about it is it's as interactive as a show could possibly be in a theatre. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And ultimately, the audience are the stars. I kid you not, by the time we get to the end of the show and we've learnt our parts, I'm on stage, Leith, with a massive valve Marshall stack.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a total Spinal Tap. Like, it completely goes up to 11. Why not make 10 the loud? Well, because 11's one louder.
That's right.
It's one of those. Nancy's keyboards are all DI'd and going through massive PAs. Well, obviously, my amp's mic'd and going through the PAs. You wouldn't think two people could create so much noise. It's a bit like when the White Stripes arrived on the scene. I was one of those skeptics who went, how can just two people make enough of a racket to really
Mm.
rock? Well, we all know the answer to that, don't we?
Mm.
So Ness and I, like the White Stripes, only it's ABBA music, we make a hell of a racket. By the end of the night, now everyone's confident in their parts and we're all pumped. And we're doing the song, and this is going to be shot for the world to see. The vocals are so extraordinary. I turned to Vanessa about 2 lines into the first verse of this particular song, and I'm hitting the strings of my Gibson. I'm going, can't hear a thing. And Vanessa's like, neither can I. It's not because there was sudden power failure with our instruments and amps back here. It was just the sheer volume of, I don't know, 1,500 people in the moment, whether they were opera trained or whether they just like having a yodel to themselves while they're turning the sausages on the barbie. The enthusiasm and the energy, Leith, I've never heard anything like it. And, bear in mind, back in the day, I don't want to embarrass myself now, but I can remember at the height of all the sort of monomania, Check 1 2 madness in Europe and the UK, and just by virtue of population, I mean, that period of my life was successful here, but it was a whole other level over there. Again, as I say, just based on numbers. And I can remember playing to 25,000 people in Wales, and the band, the three of us playing on stage and the crowd singing, and it was pretty overwhelming. But the other month up in Brisbane, and it was only 1,500 people. But the energy and the sound coming out of these people with their 70s eyeshadow on and their glamtastic boots. And there was a fella there who came up afterwards and hugged me and he said, I've been looking for an excuse to wear these crimpline duds for the last 40 years. God bless you, Macca.
Well, you see it when they do the Rocky Horror shows here at midnight, on Friday the 13th. People just stream their way to the Capri for this. Now, you get to do it in a very special venue too. Have you played Her Majesty's before? The beautiful Her Maj there on Grote Street.
The beautiful Maj, the legendary theatre. Obviously, I'm familiar with it. Leith Forrest, handsome man, AA's superstar. But I haven't visited the Maj since she's had her amazing makeover. So I can't wait to see what they've done.
You will love it. More seats, much more room, bigger crowd to enjoy. The show is called ABBA Choir, Her Majesty's Theatre, Saturday the 22nd of February. Tickets are available at Ticketek. Cannot wait to see it. Would you like to do lunch? I know a couple of good spots in that area. You and I have some history. There's a great Chinese place I know down in Guja Street. I know you love your milk dish, or a pepper steak perhaps somewhere.
A lovely pepper. Well, I have enjoyed with your good self the odd lovely steak in the city of Adelaide. Do you know, Adelaide is so very dear to me for all sorts of reasons. Not only it's home for you and the lovely Jessica, and I have a wonderful history with you guys, but also Adelaide's always felt very special to me, going right back to when I lived in that famous cul-de-sac. I can't think of the name of the street right now.
Yeah.
So Leith Forrest, I can't wait to get back to Adelaide. I can't wait to go and have a yummy feed with you. I am devastated, of course. I learned off air that one of my favourite eateries back in the day, Lee Howe Fook, is no longer operating. That's sad.
Sadly, no more.
You remember that my favourite Chinese restaurant all those years I was living in the UK shared the name. No Howe, just the Lee and just the Fook.
I know. And there it was, Grange Road here in Adelaide. No more.
Was Lee Howe Fook, was he an actual person who established and perhaps
I don't know,
ran that restaurant for so many successful years? Do we know?
I need to get onto History SA to find that out, because that we absolutely should find. Now, here's what we need to do. People, folks, grab your pen and papers, because as Craig often says, you need something to write on. Craig will be here on the 22nd of February. It's a Saturday night, 7 p.m, Her Majesty's Theatre, ABBA Choir. If you love the music of ABBA, if you love a good old-fashioned sing-along, I took my daughter to the Christmas proms here at the Festival Theatre a couple of years. People love to get in a group and they just love to sing, to be part of a community and all singing songs that you know and love together. That would be just fun in itself. Tickets are available at Ticketek. We'll see Craig and Vanessa here. Lovely to see you. You look happy. You look healthy. We welcome you back here in the City of Churches.
Can't wait. Can't wait to get over there. Can't wait to see you, my friend. And just while we're on the topic of looking good, hey, you know
You're
what
the
I
best.
mean? You look fantastic.
Well,
And I'm loving your haircut.
Oh,
Am I allowed
thanks.
to say that?
Yeah, no, you can. I mean, it's radio, so people don't get to see me, but no, that's good. I appreciate that. We'll put some of this up on social so people can see it. You're the best. Can't wait to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, my friend, and love to Jessica, the lovely Jessica.
ABBA Choir, 22nd of February, Her Majesty's Theatre, Ticketek, folks, where you get your tickets.